I found the contracts while packing Amanda's office files during our separation. Buried between old utility bills and tax documents was a folder marked Personal Insurance, containing 3 separate contracts dated over the past 18 months. The top contract was titled Professional Services Agreement. Amanda Pierce and Strategic Consulting Solutions. Amanda had never mentioned any consulting work. My name is Jonathan Pierce, 39 years old, and I founded a cybersecurity software company that went public 2 years ago. The IPO made me worth approximately $47 million on paper, though most of that wealth was tied up in company stock with vesting schedules. Amanda and I had been married for 9 years, and I thought we were navigating the sudden wealth transition together. Now we were divorcing, and these hidden contracts suggested she'd been planning something I didn't understand. I opened the first contract and immediately realized I was looking at something that could destroy our divorce settlement negotiations. The document was a legitimate business consulting agreement between Amanda and Strategic Consulting Solutions, a firm I'd never heard of. According to the contract, Amanda had been providing business development and client relationship services for a monthly fee of $15,000, plus performance bonuses based on client acquisition. The problem was that Amanda had never worked in business development. She was a freelance graphic designer who made about $35,000 annually from various small clients. A consulting contract paying $180,000 per year made no sense given her professional background. I photographed the contract and researched Strategic Consulting Solutions online. The company had been incorporated 18 months ago in Delaware with a business address that led to a virtual office service. The listed CEO was Marcus Chen, a name I didn't recognize. The second contract was even more puzzling. This one was dated 6 months later and showed Amanda providing market research and competitive analysis for Pinnacle Advisory Group, earning $12,000 monthly plus equity participation in undefined project outcomes. Again, Amanda had no background in market research or competitive analysis. Her design work involved creating logos and marketing materials for local businesses. These consulting contracts suggested professional capabilities she'd never demonstrated. The third contract was the most sophisticated. It established Amanda as a strategic partner with Meridian Capital Advisors, providing executive consulting services for a base fee of $20,000 monthly plus 15% of any value creation events, resulting from her consultation. Combined, these 3 contracts suggested Amanda was earning over $500,000 annually from consulting work that I'd never known about. During our marriage, she'd claimed to be struggling financially and had relied on my income for most household expenses. That evening, I called our divorce attorney, Patricia Santos. "Patricia, I need to discuss some financial documents I found while packing Amanda's belongings." "What kind of documents?" "Consulting contracts showing Amanda earning approximately $500,000 annually from work she's never mentioned." "Jonathan, that's significant income that would affect the divorce settlement calculations. Can you send me copies?" "There's something else. The companies she's supposedly consulting for don't seem to have any real business operations. I think these might be fake contracts designed to inflate her apparent income." "Why would Amanda want to inflate her income? That would actually hurt her position in the divorce settlement." "That's what I'm trying to understand." I spent the next day researching the 3 companies more thoroughly. Strategic Consulting Solutions had no website, no social media presence, and no business listings beyond the basic incorporation documents. The virtual office address was shared by hundreds of other businesses. When I called the phone number listed in the contract, it went straight to a generic voicemail system. Pinnacle Advisory Group had a basic website with stock photos and vague descriptions of strategic business solutions. The contact information led to the same virtual office service. There were no client testimonials, case studies, or specific service descriptions. Meridian Capital Advisors was the most sophisticated of the three. They had a professional website, LinkedIn profiles for supposed employees, and detailed descriptions of their services. But when I looked closely, all the employee photos were stock images, and the company's claimed client successes couldn't be verified through public records. The more I investigated, the more I realized these weren't just fake contracts. They were part of a comprehensive scheme to manipulate our divorce proceedings. I hired Marcus Thompson, a private investigator who specialized in financial fraud, to dig deeper into the three companies. Mr. Pierce, what you found appears to be what we call manufactured income documentation, Marcus explained after a week of investigation. These contracts are designed to create the appearance of legitimate income without any actual work being performed. But why would Amanda want to appear wealthier than she actually is during a divorce? That's where it gets interesting. I've traced the ownership of all three companies, and they lead back to the same source, a business entity controlled by your wife's divorce attorney. My blood went cold. Amanda's attorney is creating fake income for her. It appears that way. But here's the twist. The fake income isn't designed to help Amanda. It's designed to help you. I don't understand. Think about it. If Amanda appears to be earning $500,000 annually, she doesn't qualify for alimony. She might even owe you support payments. These contracts make her look financially independent when she's actually still dependent on your income. So her attorney is sabotaging her own client. Not exactly. I think Amanda's attorney is working for someone else, or someone who benefits from Amanda receiving minimal divorce settlement. That night I reviewed our prenuptial agreement, which I hadn't looked at in years. Amanda and I had signed a relatively simple prenup before our marriage, drafted by my attorney at the time. The agreement protected my premarital assets and any business interests I might develop, but it guaranteed Amanda a specific minimum settlement if we divorced after 5 years of marriage. According to the prenup, Amanda was entitled to $2.5 million plus 25% of any business value created during our marriage. With my company's current valuation, her total settlement would be approximately $8.5 million, unless she could be shown to have substantial independent income that made spousal support unnecessary. I called Marcus Thompson back. Marcus, I need you to find out who's really paying Amanda's legal fees. What do you mean? Amanda's attorney is expensive, probably $750 per hour. Amanda doesn't have that kind of money, and she's never mentioned how she's funding the divorce proceedings. The answer came back 2 days later. Jonathan, Amanda's legal fees are being paid by Hartwell Industries. I've never heard of Hartwell Industries. It's a private equity firm that specializes in acquiring technology companies. They've been researching your company for the past year. Suddenly everything made sense. Hartwell Industries wanted to acquire my cybersecurity company, but they couldn't make a hostile takeover attempt while I controlled majority ownership. An expensive divorce settlement would force me to sell significant stock holdings to pay Amanda, potentially giving Hartwell the opportunity to acquire controlling interest. But if Amanda appeared financially independent and didn't receive a large settlement, I'd retain my stock holdings and Hartwell would lose their acquisition opportunity. Amanda's attorney wasn't just sabotaging her divorce settlement. They were working for a company that wanted to prevent her from receiving money that would ultimately come from my stock sales. The fake consulting contracts were designed to ensure Amanda got almost nothing, allowing me to keep assets that Hartwell could then target for acquisition. I made a decision that surprised everyone involved. Instead of using the fake contracts to minimize Amanda's settlement, I took them to the State Bar Association and reported her attorney for fraud and conflict of interest. Mr. Pierce, said bar investigator Patricia Williams. What you've documented appears to be a clear case of attorney misconduct. Creating fraudulent income documentation and representing conflicting interests are serious violations. I want Amanda to know what her attorney has been doing. Why? This evidence could save you millions of dollars in settlement costs. Because Amanda deserves to know that she's been betrayed by her own legal representation. The confrontation happened in Patricia Santos's office with Amanda, her attorney, David Kumar, and the Bar Association investigator present. Amanda, I said, showing her the contracts, did you sign these consulting agreements? She looked confused. Jonathan, what are you talking about? I've never seen these before. Your attorney filed these with the court as evidence of your income. They show you earning over $500,000 annually. Amanda turned to David Kumar. What is this? I never signed any consulting contracts. Kumar's face was pale. Amanda, these documents were provided to establish your financial independence. Provided by whom? I never worked for any of these companies. The bar investigator stepped in. Miss Pierce, are you saying these contracts bearing your signature are fraudulent? Asterisk. I'm saying I never signed them and never worked for these companies. Patricia Santos reviewed the documents. Mr. Kumar, who instructed you to file these income statements? Kumar remained silent. Mr. Kumar. The investigator continued. We have evidence that these consulting companies are shell entities created specifically to generate fraudulent income documentation. We also have evidence that your legal fees are being paid by Hartwell Industries, a company with acquisition interests in Mr. Pierce's business. Amanda stared at her attorney. David, is this true? Have you been working for someone else? Amanda, the situation is complex. Answer the question. Have you been working against my interests? Kumar was suspended from practicing law pending a full investigation. Amanda fired him immediately and retained Patricia Santos to represent her in the divorce proceedings. But the discovery of Kumar's fraud had changed the entire dynamic of our divorce. Jonathan, Amanda said during a private conversation after the Bar Association meeting, I had no idea what David was doing. I thought he was trying to get me the best possible settlement. Amanda, he was trying to ensure you got almost nothing while making it look like you didn't deserve support. Why would you expose this? You could have used those fake contracts to avoid paying me anything. Because I don't want our divorce settlement based on fraud. If we're ending our marriage, it should be honest about our actual financial situations. 6 months later, Amanda and I finalized our divorce based on accurate financial information. She received the $8.5 million settlement specified in our prenuptial agreement. I retained majority control of my company, though I had to sell some stock holdings to fund the settlement. Hartwell Industries made an acquisition offer 3 months after our divorce was finalized. I declined their offer and took the company in a different strategic direction that didn't require outside investment. David Kumar was disbarred and faced criminal charges for fraud and conflict of interest. The investigation revealed that he'd used similar tactics against other clients in divorce cases involving wealthy technology executives. Amanda used her settlement to start her own design agency and has built a successful business serving technology startups. We maintain a cordial relationship and occasionally consult each other on business matters. The most satisfying part of this story wasn't exposing the fraud, it was discovering that doing the right thing actually protected my business better than the deceptive alternative would have. By ensuring Amanda received a fair settlement, I maintained full control over when and how to make strategic decisions about my company. If I'd used the fraudulent contracts to minimize her settlement, I would have been vulnerable to Hartwell's acquisition strategy and potentially lost control of the business I'd spent 10 years building. The hidden contracts that were supposed to manipulate our divorce settlement ended up revealing a much larger conspiracy to manipulate my business ownership. Sometimes the best way to protect yourself from deception isn't to use that deception for your own benefit, but to expose it completely and insist on honest alternatives. Amanda's mistake wasn't trying to get a fair divorce settlement. It was trusting an attorney who was working for someone else's interests. My mistake would have been using her attorney's fraud to my advantage instead of protecting both of us from being manipulated. Today, my cybersecurity company is worth twice what it was during the divorce, and I've maintained the control that would have been impossible if I'd been forced into premature stock sales to fight off a hostile acquisition. The contracts I found in Amanda's files were supposed to ensure she got nothing, and I kept everything. By rejecting that fraudulent outcome, we both ended up better protected from the people who were trying to manipulate both of us. Sometimes the best revenge against manipulation isn't using the manipulation for your own benefit. It's insisting that everyone involved gets treated honestly, even when dishonesty might seem advantageous. The divorce settlement that Hartwell Industries tried to prevent ended up being exactly what protected my company from their acquisition strategy. Amanda got her fair settlement, I kept control of my business, and the people who tried to manipulate both of us lost their ability to practice law. Justice served all around.